So this is my third time working on a YouTube channel, and I thought for this one, what I really wanted to try to do was take what I've learned and what I know about computers and just kind of share it with everybody to, help people that, maybe don't know that much about computers, or if you're eager to learn about some different things, maybe you didn't know you could do certain things with them, just whatever I have picked up in my years of dabbling, just to share little things that could be helpful to people. But my main, right now we've got Windows going here, but my main passion for quite a while is actually with Linux. And, there's, to me, Windows feels foreign now because it's been so many years since I've been actively using it. But I made the switch quite a few years back, and honestly, I haven't looked back because it's, Linux for me just works a lot better, and it's a lot easier to use. There's a lot less headaches, and the simplicity of it is what I really enjoy. But I also wanted to talk to you a little bit about just some Windows stuff that maybe for those who are interested in making the transition over to Linux, or maybe they've never heard of it but they're curious. There's a few steps that are good to do first, so that you can make sure you've got everything you need. Either if it's with a new computer, or you might be upgrading to a new computer, or even if you've just got an old one or something that you just want to try and refresh or whatever. There's some steps that are good to take. So one of the first things that's important to do when you're considering either just in general, just to make a backup of your data, whether you're considering switching to a new operating system, whether you're getting a new computer, or even just from time to time, just for your own peace of mind, that you've got a backup of your important, files and everything that would be really hard to replace. So it's important to do that. And so one of the ways, there's quite a few ways you could do it, but the more common ways these days is to use some kind of storage device to copy your files onto that you've made. So on your computer, if you go down at the bottom here, you'll see here, this is the File Explorer shortcut. It's how you get to pretty much everything that's stored on your computer. And when you're going through, most of the time you'll have stuff in your desktop. It'll be icons, whatever, saved on your desktop, or else you have it in your downloads if you've saved it from the internet, documents, pictures, and so on. These are the common areas that you can store your files on your computer. And so, but the main thing is with making a backup copy that you want to do is you want to take it off of this computer's storage and put it on a different separate storage device, whatever that may be, whether it's a USB flash drive, which also could be called a thumb drive, a USB stick. It's all different terms for the same thing, basically. Or else, if your computer has a card reader, then you can use the SD cards or micro SD cards, things like that. That's another good storage option. If you have a lot of things you need to store, though, then you'll probably need something with more capacity, more storage space, and that would be like a portable hard drive or something like that. But any of those would work. The main thing, I'll just show, for example, here, I have a USB flash drive of my own, and I'm just going to insert it into the computer here. And Windows says there's a problem with this drive. There's actually not a problem with this drive. There's a problem with Windows, to be honest. The drive works fine. But what it'll do is, you can see it popped up this other window here, and this is the storage, the USB's flash drive here. And you can see here, it's got its own separate section on the left for just for that drive. It happens to be the D drive in this case. Windows assigns letters to each drive, and most Windows installations will be on the local disk C. That letter might be different on your device. It could be D or E or G or whatever. But the local disk is basically your computer's storage, and any other ones are potentially separate storage devices. I don't want to go into that too much for this part, but basically this is a separate storage device. That's really the main thing that comes down to it here. So I've already got some stuff stored on this particular flash drive. It's got some videos on it and some things that I've organized in various folders here. But the idea here is that you would want to take whatever you've got stored in your local disk, whatever you've got stored on your computer, essentially, whether that's videos, music, whatever, and you want to be able to basically make a copy of it is what you end up doing onto this storage device. So that way you can take this external storage device, whether it's a hard drive, a flash drive, an SD card, whatever, and you can move that between computers. You can use it on any Windows computer, or you can use it on Linux computers, whatever, and and your files will still be there, and they're easy to transport and move around and just have on hand. So for example, I'll just show really quick how to do that. I have some stuff in my documents here. I have a folder for writing. So what you would want to do with any of your files that you're looking to make a backup copy of, make a copy, for storage purposes, you want to just select them with the mouse here. Like all I'm doing is holding down the left mouse button and moving the mouse, and it makes this little window here. There's only one thing in this particular view. If I opened it up, there's a whole bunch of stuff in here that you could select individually if you needed to, whatever. But since in this case I'll just be copying over the whole folder, I want to do just right click on it. Whenever you've got your selection there settled on, then you just use the right mouse button to click, and it brings open a menu here. In this case you want to just go right down here to where it says copy, and when you select that, so what that does is makes it, it prepares the computer to say, okay, you're going to make a copy of everything that I just selected for this, and then you want to put that copy somewhere else. Then you have to use the paste command, which is just the other half of the equation. And so this is still on this PC, so that's still on your local disk. It's on your your local storage drive. But then if you go into this window, you can see at the top here it says Patriot D. It's the D drive. Shows it right here as well, and then off to the side, so okay, this is in this separate separate device, separate storage device. And so you would just come in here and right click on any of the blank space in here, and you just do paste, the paste option, and then Windows will give you this progress bar basically here, and it says however % complete, and then it shows you how many items it's copying, and that'll take a while, but when it does finish that, then you will have a copy of whatever your files are that you had on your computer. You'll have a copy of them somewhere else, and in this case it's on a flash drive. So you do want to go ahead and make a backup of everything that you have on your computer like that. It's not so important to make a backup of the things that are automatically going to be on your computer no matter what. So like the programs that it came installed with, things like that would still be on another computer. But the main thing is anything that you yourself have created, or anything that you've downloaded, or from the internet, or anything like that. Anything that would be really difficult or even impossible in some case to replace or to get back. So family photos or videos, or anything you've written or drawn, if you're do more than the creative pursuits, anything like that. Things that are of important value to you that you either would have a hard time getting again, or or in some cases it would be impossible to replicate or duplicate. Like you could not re-record a family video on an outing or something like that, or so those are the kinds of things you would want to focus on making a backup of. That way, you would not lose the more important things, because there are, especially when we're talking about, in this case, a thumbstick or a USB flash drive, same thing. There are limitations on storage, and especially if you have a lot of photos and videos and music and things like that. While flash drives, USB flash drives, thumb drives, they do have quite a bit of capacity these days. But it's not limitless. It's still going to be a far cry from the kinds of storage space that you get in an actual, portable external hard drive and that sort of thing. And I'll discuss storage briefly here in a minute, but the main takeaway there is that you can't just keep necessarily filling up, like you can hold a lot more, files and things like that on your computer drive usually than you can on a USB thumbstick or something like that. So if you have a lot of stuff you're backing up, or if you have just a lot of big files that you're trying to save, you'll want to be a little more conscious and aware of your storage space limitations of what you're copying things to. If you do have a go-between, like maybe a second computer or something that you could temporarily store stuff on, you can use a smaller flash drive or an SD card or something like that, just as a device to move them from one to the other. That's one way to do it. You just copy stuff over, paste it onto the onto the flash drive or the SD card, and then when you run out of space on that, you can fill that space up on the SD card or the flash drive, and then you can again move that over to your second computer, plug the USB flash drive or the SD card into it. Then you would copy it off of the card or the drive onto the computer. And then once that transition has been made, you've got a backup copy on the second computer. Then you can, delete the contents of the flash drive or the SD card, free that space up again, and then just repeat that process as many times as you need to be able to transfer all of your data into, a second storage device of some kind. And that is another option too if you have multiple computers lying around. And you don't necessarily have the external drive, but you could, temporarily store it that way as well if you have space on another computer's, internal storage. So I'm going to just go ahead and pause here because it's still going to take a little bit to copy all this data over. I didn't realize it was quite this large. And then we'll cut to when this copy process is completed. If you enjoyed this video and you want to learn even more, you can find my books at bookstoread.com/Jonathan. That's books, the number 2, read.com/JONATHAN.